Hey, all right. All right. So Dale Jr. finally comes out and says that he does want to move up the Cup. He is moving up the Cup. We have the SRX race this weekend, Nashville, Chase Elliott with the yellow flags, all kinds of cool stuff going on. So, all right, let's get into it. NASCAR guy, what's up, man? What do you want to talk about today? Let me know. Probably like the biggest thing. I don't know. The most controversial thing is a lot of people think that yellow flag was thrown to help Chase or whatever. I can see how people that pull against Chase Elliott would make that argument. They might feel like that, but I really didn't see it. I think NASCAR has been so inconsistent with its yellow flag policy that you can argue it either way. They've thrown yellow flags in the past that have not helped Chase Elliott. They've thrown yellow flags that did help Chase Elliott. So I just didn't see it as that. At the end of the day, it was a safety issue if Brad Keselowski was not off the track. But from the angle that NBC gave us, I couldn't tell if he was out of the way or not. So it was hard to say. But definitely NASCAR inconsistent with the flags. So yeah, I don't know. Stu Putty said, let's hope Junior keeps Noah in his stable. Noah needs a mentor. I love it when when Junior jokes about my son Noah. Yeah, so I think he will keep Noah in the stable. And I think that if they make that move up to the Cup Series, which is what they're obviously trying to do, I was surprised he actually came out and said that they've been working on trying to do it. So to me, that makes it feel like to me that it's a lot closer than it has been. And I think Noah is the guy at this point, now that Truex has decided to go back to Gibbs. I'm surprised he admitted that Truex was the driver he was going after to start it with. It made perfect sense to me, but I didn't know that they were actually in talks about it. So that was really awesome. I wish Truex would have done it, man. That would have been so cool. Like Truex came in with him, and Truex would help him start his Cup deal. But now that Truex is signed over there, I think it is. I think Noah Gragson has to be the leading candidate to join Junior Motorsports and be the first driver in that car whenever they move it up. And the other thing is they're obviously probably not going to keep the 77. If that's the car they take, they would change the number. I think they would probably bring back the 88 or they would talk to Richard Childress and get the 8. So I think that would be something else you could definitely look at. I would think Noah would be a sponsor gold mine, Stu Putty says. I think so too. He has a lot of personality and the sport is really lacking that. Yeah, he's definitely a character, man. He reminds me of like a modern day version of Tim Richmond. Not necessarily talent wise, because Tim Richmond was, I don't know if guys ever got to see Tim Richmond race, but Tim Richmond was on the same level as Dale Earnhardt as far as talent goes. Now, consistency, maybe not, but he definitely had the car control of Dale Earnhardt. Those two would have put on battles for a long time if he hadn't, unfortunately, well, the Tim Richmond story. So if Kyle Busch doesn't sign a deal with Gibbs, maybe Junior should try to get him as driver for his Cup team. Now, that would be awesome. So first off, I think Kyle Busch will sign with Joe Gibbs. But let's say he doesn't. Let's just, say he doesn't and Junior signs him. Those are two fan bases that have not gotten along for a really long time. So to see like Kyle Busch drive the number 88 Junior Motorsports car and be like the Junior Motorsports entry into Cup, that would be, oh man, so many heads would explode. They wouldn't know what to do. I think that would be, I want to see it happen just from the hilariousness of that standpoint. That would be probably the funniest thing ever. Could you imagine Kyle Busch driving the 88 for Junior as his boss? Obviously, those two have made up, and they were cool. He was on the podcast, but I don't think the fan bases have made up. So that would be something to behold. Let's see, different issue. Those were there. Would really appreciate better communication with fans during the delay. Had some friends leave because the assumption was made that we'd be back Monday. SHHJ said that. So yeah, he's talking about the broadcast, the NBC broadcast, switching it over to USA. For sure, they did not do the best job saying that it would be on USA, and they did not do a good job at all of saying, hey, we're going to air this thing tonight for sure. And this is about what time we're thinking we're going to come back on. And a lot of times in that situation, they'll come back on whether they're going to race or not. They'd say something like, hey, at 10:30 tonight, we're going to come back on the USA Network and give you an update as to whether or not we're going racing or not. So I think that would be probably a better way for them to have done it. But it was their first race of the season. A lot of people griped about Fox. I didn't see where NBC. Now, granted, they had weather situation and all that, but I didn't see where NBC, aside from the camera work, NBC's camera work was a lot better than Fox's. But aside from the camera work, I didn't really see much difference in the broadcast. Maybe some of the tech stuff was a little bit better, and some people like the graphics and stuff like that a little better. But that's sort of all to your taste or preference. But I think, and it was their first race too. Don't get me wrong, but I think coming out the box, this was not a success for NBC. Even though I think the camera work was a little bit better, but yeah, they definitely botched that for sure. Man, my writing is bad today. Don't worry about it, Rich L. Sometimes I can't write or talk. Like I need to do an outtakes version of some of the mistakes I make when I'm making the videos. Because especially, man, I should have done it when Matt DiBenedetto was still driving, because I messed his name up probably more times than anybody else's back in the day. And hopefully he's doing pretty good in trucks. So hopefully one day he'll get another shot at Xfinity and Cup at some point. NRF 18, no cartoons. Hey, for sure, man. The cartoon thing was making them look like comic book characters. I agree with that. That was not good. Yeah, that was not to my preference either. But like stuff like that, I don't really go in and judge on. Like that's to whoever's taste. But I just try to stick to the coverage itself, the camera angles, the commentary, and the tech stuff. So the graphic overlays and stuff like that, I don't really get into, because I feel like people use those just to take shots at whichever one they don't like. Like if you don't like NBC, you use that to take shots at them. If you don't like Fox, you use that to sort of take shots at them. But yeah, I will agree with you on that one. I was not a fan of the cartoon thing. I like the actual pictures. And another thing I really wish they would do is, like back in the 80s and 90s when they were doing the starting lineup, they would do a picture of the car like over here, and then they would have the driver's head over here, and then they would have the name and the car number and the starting position, and they would scroll through the first 10 or 15 like that before they went to just like the just the name scrolling up like that. I wish they would go back to that, because I feel like if you qualify in the top 15, you deserve a little bit of screen time for that. Like, so I would like to see that come back. That's one thing that neither of the stations have done yet. So I would like to see that again. That was an ESPN thing, by the way, when they were doing it. Bones, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Let's see. Network TV is just plain bad all around. It's definitely getting there. I think they're reeling from the emergence of new technology. So they're trying to figure out their place in the deal. Anyone know who slid into Cole Custer before he hit BK? I've seen a lot of people say it was Denny Hamlin, and many are saying it's Denny Hamlin as the rest of that, but there has been no confirmation that I could find online. Yeah, that was another issue I had with the race. They didn't show anything that happened other than the finish of the race. They didn't show those wrecks that happened in the back of the pack. So I don't know. The only thing I've really seen video of is Kyle Busch just riding the outside wall, just destroying his car. I don't know if some piece of suspension broke or something like that, but he's just riding the wall, trying to finish the race. A lot of people said he was throwing a fit. Some people said the car was broke. Either way, he was riding the wall to finish out that race. I don't think he would, him being a car owner, I don't think he would intentionally damage a race car. So I got to believe something was broken in that car. In the truck series, obviously he doesn't own the 18 car, but in the truck series, being a truck owner, being a team owner in one series, I would think a guy like that knows how expensive stuff like that is, I don't think he would damage a car intentionally just because he's having a fit. Now he would definitely have a fit. He would say things on the radio and stuff like that, but I don't really see him intentionally damaging the car. But from what I've heard, and I haven't seen it, I'm with you on that. I haven't seen who actually ran into Cole Custer to put him into Brad Keselowski, but everybody's saying it was Denny Hamlin. So I would like to see a replay of that. And that was a failure on NBC's part that they didn't show any replay on that, and a failure on NASCAR's part because they've posted the highlights and you still don't have a view of it anywhere. So Would like to see that for sure. Where's JRM going to get their charter from? Can't wait to see it. Enzo asked that question. I think that they will probably be with Spire. They will probably buy into Spire. I think that is the easiest option in, unless some teams quit this season. Now, JTG Doherty has announced already that they have signed Ricky Stenhouse to a multi-year contract. So the talk about JTG Doherty, which they said themselves for the right price they would sell their thing. It looks like they're still in business at least for a few more years. So JTG Doherty's charter is off the table. So I would think Junior would buy into Spire. And the reason I say he would buy into Spire is that Spire is already affiliated with Hendricks. So it would be an easy transition. They could do like the Petty GMS thing where they just merge together. So he would just buy into it, and he would, put his driver in one car, and they would most likely keep Corey LaJoy in the other car because Corey LaJoy has sponsorship and stuff like that. And, they would put Noah Gregson or Josh Berry or whoever in the 77 or 88, or Kyle Busch, as was mentioned earlier, if Kyle Busch doesn't re-sign with JGR. I'm firing off tweets because my boredom is making so many Custer memes for some reason. Cole Custer is he's a prospect. Okay, he is a potential. He's a guy that's got a lot of upside. He obviously got the win his rookie season and hasn't posted a top 5 since, but the potential is there, right? So a lot of people are down on Cole Custer, but the people who are down on Cole Custer, I would like to say this. There have been several drivers that came into the Cup Series, and it took them a little while to figure out and produce it. Martin Truex being probably the most recent and best example of that. It took Martin Truex a long time to figure it out. Now, Martin Truex came up with DEI or whatever, and yeah, it was that section of DEI of their life cycle that they weren't the best, but it was still pretty good equipment. And he bounced around. He went to the Michael Waltrip Racing deal and bounced around, Furniture Row and all that stuff. But it took him a while to figure it out. But once he figured it out, boom, he was on it. He won a championship, and ever since he's won that championship and a couple years before it, he has been one of your best drivers. So Cole Custer is a guy that he's just struggling right now, but we've seen it click for him in the Xfinity Series. He can win a bunch of races. So if they stick it out with Cole Custer, or if he goes to another organization, I don't think he'll go to another organization. I think he'll stay where he's at. But if they stick it out with Cole Custer, the potential's there. But the potential is also there for him not to pan out. Like, more drivers than not don't pan out, right? So Cole Custer is a guy that could go either way. It's just the way it is. But I think it's a little too early to be down on him. Same thing with Harrison Burton. Harrison Burton's a rookie, guys. He's like 21 years old. Give him some time to develop. So, yeah, I don't know. Alan Unseld said they seem excited. NBC does. Yeah, NBC screams a lot. There's a lot of screaming on that one. So that's something that you either like or you don't like. Just depends on the moment, I guess. Fox needs someone like Rutledge Wood. I like Rutledge. A lot of people don't like Rutledge. I think Rutledge brings some cool stuff to the table. Where they need to slot him in at, though, is right before or right after a commercial, sort of where you would do your tech talk. You get the little Rutledge, what's going on in the area, what's fun to do in the area type deal, his little pop culture thing. I think that's where they need to slide him in. And I think you've got two guys over at Fox that could pull that off. You've got Michael Waltrip, who's super fun, and you've got Kyle Petty, who does just weird stuff. So you got two guys that would work for, but you could also bring somebody new and young in. That would also definitely fill that slot. But I agree. I think I like Rutledge Wood and what he does. Just dropping. Jason Ratcliffe said just dropping by to comment on the last vid about Nemirovsky to Nemechek name change in the early days. Truex and Junior Motorsports News. So yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know they changed it from Nemirovsky to Nemechek. That's pretty cool. I actually didn't know. Big Joe Nemechek fan back in the day because I watched him race at Orange County Speedway in Chapel Hill, Orange County, Rougemont area, the North Carolina one, not the New York one. A lot of people get that mixed up. I was talking about Orange County and I said something bad about it because Orange County and Hillsborough, Rougemont area is not well run, and the people from the Orange County Fairgrounds in New York lit into me because the Orange County, New York it's actually really well run. It's one of the best dirt tracks out there. So they thought I was talking about theirs. I was not. So that was that. But anyway, I started pulling for Nemechek when he's driving the Texas Pete 87 in the Busch Grand National Series because they used to race at Orange County. So I just like the way that car looks. So I became a Nemechek fan, but I never knew he had a different name. They changed their last name. That's interesting. William Byron literally took 4 years to become great, so people are negative on Custer for not being good. Yeah, I agree, Moulton. Like, just give him some time before we call him a bust or anything like that. Anything can happen. And I've seen really great drivers have terrible years, too. I remember 1992, one of the greatest seasons ever between Alan Kulwicki, Bill Elliott, and Davey Allison. Well, you didn't hear Dale Earnhardt mentioned in there anywhere, because Dale Earnhardt had probably his worst season that I ever suffered through in my entire life. He still finished like 12th or something in points. But it was so bad, dude. Like, he was burning pistons left and right. It was just not his year. He wasn't competing. He might have snuck a win in there somewhere, but it was a terrible, terrible, rough year. But yeah, how about Stewart getting on Ernie Francis at the SRX deal? Personally, Smoke needs to chill out before he has a stroke. Looked like his eyes were going to pop. Yeah, so I was at that race, and I talked to a guy at the bar. We were having a couple beers at the track bar there, and ended up becoming friends with the guy. And I was sitting on the outside by the scoreboard, and he had an extra ticket up to the booth. So I went up to the booth. So I did not have a great view of that as far as being up close. And we had a TV in there, but the TV didn't have sound. We were just getting the video feed. But all I could see was Tony Stewart's eyes like this big. And when he grabbed, and look, I'm okay with, you expressing your displeasure. But where I had an issue with it was when he grabbed him by the collar. Like, that could have got, ugly. I'm not a big fan of drivers putting hands on drivers. I've been pretty vocal about that. I mean, I know it's good for TV, but at the end of the day, these are real people. And if one day it's going to break out into a really bad situation and somebody's going to get injured or whatever, and that's not going to be good for the sport. So I'm not a big fan of them putting hands on, but him talking junk, I was okay with. And I was glad that they later, like maybe 5 or 10, 15 minutes later, made up and they were cool about it. That was probably my best part. But I was also really glad that Ernie Francis stood up for himself. He didn't back down. And that's really what I wanted to see, because you don't want to get pushed around by anybody, especially if you're a younger guy and there's an older guy. Because if people see you get pushed around like that, they will push you around. Like, racing is a jungle. You'll all be cool outside of the track, but inside of the track, it's a jungle. If you show any weakness, they're going to exploit that because they are trying to win. So I like the fact that he stood up for himself and he said, "Go ahead and get your hands off me. Like, it ain't happening." So I like that. And I'm glad that they talked it out and were okay with it. A few minutes later, I love the NBC broadcast. I can't handle Rick Allen's yelling. Stuart Taylor said that. I'm sort of with you. I'm not the biggest. Rick Allen is an absolute professional. He's good at what he does. He's got a great voice. I just don't prefer him over Mike Joy is probably the best way to say it. I just prefer Mike Joy over him, and I'm just going to leave it at that. But I think they all yell. So they do a lot of yelling, and if you like yelling, if that's part of your excitement deal, like that's cool. I get it. But some of it feels manufactured sometimes, to me, in my opinion. But I think I'm not going to sit here and trash either one. I think they both have their strengths and weaknesses. I'm not going to say Fox is terrible or NBC's terrible. I think they both do a good job, but I think they both have room for improvement. I'm not going to sit here and be like, "Oh, I can't wait for Fox to get back," or "Oh, I can't wait for NBC to get back." They both can get better, and they both have their strong points. So it is what it is. I'm not going to simp for either one. I just don't. I don't see where they're that much different in their coverage. It was the 87 in ARCA also. Joe Nemorowski changed it for Busch Grand National. I'm gonna have to look that up, Jason Ratcliffe. That's cool. He's dropping some knowledge on me today. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm gonna check that out because I was a big Joe Nemechek fan. That Texas Pete car was awesome. If you get a chance to look it up, one day I will have this stream where I can start pulling stuff up like that. That day is not today. But that Joe Nemechek Texas Pete car was tough. I like that. And Bobby Labonte's number 44 Slim Jim car. I've got a Slim Jim T-shirt. I'll try to wear it next episode. That Slim Jim car was pretty tough too. That's when I became a Bobby Labonte fan. Rick Allen wakes me up while Mike Joy puts me to sleep. That's pretty good in RF18. I just hope that JRM makes the jump to Cup and has success soon. I'm with you, and I hope that Noah Gregson is the guy that they go there with, because he would just be the best fit because he's already in the program. He's got the most funding. He would give them the best chance to be successful, especially if you pair him with Corey LaJoie. I think those would be two really good personalities to have at JRM. JRM Spire is what I'm thinking it would be. So I still prefer Rick Allen to Joy, who just gets stuck with Clint Boyer. Yeah. A lot of people don't like Clint Boyer. I think he's a trip, but he can be too much sometimes, for sure. Also, Kaltiki, what's up, buddy? Rich L, what's up? Daniel Crete, what's up, buddy? Always on Twitter, dropping a lot of news. Make sure you follow Daniel Crete on Twitter. Also has a YouTube channel, so check him out. Let's see, Jason Ratcliffe, John Hunter, Nemechek, or Justin Allgaier would be the best choice for Junior. Yeah, I think John Hunter would be a good fit there for sure. And Justin Allgaier, like that, I can't really talk non-biased about Justin Allgaier because I want to see him in Cup. I don't think he got a real good chance. His 1 year that whenever he was in Cup, I didn't ever feel like he was in the best stuff, and he never got a real chance at Cup. I would love to see Justin Allgaier get a chance in Cup. Feel like he's put in his time. I know he's got the sponsor money behind him. I just don't know if it'll happen, but I really, really am pulling for it the same way I was pulling for Martin Truex to be the JRM driver. It's better to handle it off the track. I agree with that because it can be more dangerous on the track. I agree with that too. I don't feel like anything that happens on the racetrack definitely needs to come to fisticuffs, to put it. Trying to play safe so this thing doesn't get a yellow check mark on it. Rick Allen uses the fake hype yelling. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Jason Ratcliffe, for sure. I'm not a big fan of that. He said Gus is not the guy. Talking about Chase Elliott's crew chief, maybe. I don't know. He's been decent. He got him a championship. I don't know. What are these jack wagons crashing Haley? Because okay, so that's a good issue, and I've been meaning to. Old home guy is talking about this. What are these jack wagons crashing Haley for? Because they know she won't knock them on her on there. On their butt. I got you. I see what you're saying. So old home guys talking about these guys are wrecking Haley Deegan, and they're not giving her a lot of respect. That is for sure accurate. So coming up through the lower ranks of late models and stuff like that, you hear a lot of times if there is a talented female driver, you'll hear a lot of the younger kids say you don't want to get. They're joking with each other, but there's a little bit of truth in all the joking, right? You hear these guys say, "I don't want to get passed by the girl." So there is one aspect of it where they're showing disrespect to Haley by wrecking her and moving her out of the way because they don't want to get passed by her. The other aspect of it is they don't want to be embarrassed by their friends. It's a fragile. You're a young person. Young people have fragile egos. But Haley Deegan is probably getting driven harder and in bad situations, put in bad situations more than she would be, if she wasn't a dude. That being said, her team is not helping her out because you'll see the other team, the 17, the other trucks at DGR Crosley, and I talked about this on the last one. They are doing better. They're qualifying better. They're making it through tech. Her truck a lot of times is not making it through tech. So, and then you qualify bad, you get back there with the squirrels, yada, yada, yada. So it's a little bit of guys don't want to get passed by the girl. And it's a little bit of her team is not the strongest team right now of that organization. So I don't know what needs to happen, if it's a car chief, if it's a crew chief, if her and her crew chief are not gelling, but there's something also within the team that needs to be fixed because she's qualifying worse this year than she did last year. Almost in every metric, she's going the wrong way. So there's some team chemistry thing going on as well. So it's not all just a bunch of dudes roughing her up, but that is definitely part of it. Let's see. Yeah. Chris Myers is the only one on Fox I'm not crazy about. Some of his wisecracks get personal. Larry Mack has looked like he'd give him one to the throat. LOL. Rich L. Yeah, that's one thing. I'd like to see Larry Mack back in the booth personally. Larry Mack, Jamie McMurray, those are both guys. Both of those guys did well up there in the booth. I like Clint Boyer personally, and I like Mike Joyce. So some combination of those guys I'd like to see up there. But yeah, Chris Myers can be a smart aleck for sure. I'll give you that. No doubt about that. Mark Barnum says Bubba knows where the brake pedal's at. Now he needs to find the accelerator. Bubba Wallace's problem this year has been 100% his pit crew. He had a really fast car at Nashville, and his pit crew took him out of it. I don't know what 2311 needs to do because they are getting their pit crew from JGR, but they seriously need to have a conversation with JGR and the right side, or the front tire changer for JGR is Joe Gibbs' grandson. So it's a tricky situation, but they need to make. And I saw a lot of people posting that he was the one that messed up the thing because they posted, "I'm just going to leave this here," and then they circled his name as the crew member, and so apparently he was the crew member that messed up. So that's a tricky situation. But and I understand, and the other part of that is I understand Bubba's frustration with his pit crew, but there was still over half of that race to go, and he wasn't communicating. He decided just to go radio silent with the crew, which was fine up until the point where Booty Barker asked him what's going on with the car, what's the car doing, and then when he didn't answer him for that, my issue with that is if you don't tell him what's going on with the car, you can't get any better, and you still had a fast car, and there was over half of the race left. So and I want to see the guy succeed. That's a little bit of a maturity thing you got to get over. You cannot talk to him the entire race about anything else, but when he asks you what the car is doing, at least give him some feedback on what the car is doing so he can make adjustments. Because although Booty Barker is in charge of that crew, that pit crew, he has had the car faster than you've ever had it since you've been at 2311. So I think he's the better crew chief you've had. Now the pit crew is not doing well, so he needs to get on top of them, or they need to find another source of pit crew members or something, because that's what's been holding that team back. And I understand, and he's got every right to be frustrated with the pit crew. I'm not saying he shouldn't be, but you've got to find some level where you can at least talk to him about that when things are going bad, because you still had over half that race left, and we've seen guys have problems in the first part of a race and then come back and win. Freaking his best friend Chase Elliott parked it into the tire barrier at the Charlotte Roval. They patched that car back up. He came back out there and won the race. So it's if you think about it like this, your emotions are like the engine of the car, and your mind is like the steering wheel. If you can't get your mind in control of that engine is strong, and it can take you anywhere. But if you can't get your mind to take that angry energy and turn it into a positive focus to steer that engine, you're not going to go anywhere. So that's the only thing. I took some heat on that on Twitter because people thought I was just dissing Bubba, but then I posted the same thing that I said the same thing about Kevin Harvick last week, and they didn't have anything to say about that. So it is what it is. Bubba has passionate fans, and I'm gonna stop talking about him because those fans get super passionate, and I don't want to hear about 4,000 comments about it. But I think he definitely needs to sort of take that criticism a little bit better. Deegan isn't afraid to stand in the ground, that's for sure. No Gus Johnson on Fox Sports. Yeah, Gus Johnson is all hype with the yelling. It would shock Racing World if Junior signed Kyle Busch to JRM. They would that would be the story for sure. Dusty Conjure. We were actually talking about that a little bit earlier. Yeah, that would make people's head explode. Haley Deegan might knock out some of them with her fist. She actually practices at the UFC gym and does a lot of MMA stuff. So she'd be no slouch. But like I said, I don't want to see any fisticuffs in racing. I think just go watch UFC if you want to see that stuff. It's better fighting anyway. Need to move the 17 crew to her. I would like to see some type of moves happen because her team has not been on point this year at all. and they've been getting a pass because people have been laying it all at the feet of Haley Deegan. I'm sorry that there's a lot of guys out there with a lot more on their resume than Haley. Take Tyler Carpenter, and look, I'm not arguing that, but she brings in the money and she's got ability to get it done better, at least better than she's been getting it done right now. So her crew's not living up to her ability, and I'm not saying she's the best driver out there either. I'm just saying that whole team could do better. So I'd like to see them improve, and I'm not trying to diss anybody. Let's see. Did you watch Dirty Mo live at Nashville? I didn't, but I watched the clips of it. Basically, when he was talking about bringing JRM back up to Cup. Bubba might take Harvick's pit crew, JK, Rich L. That would be pretty funny because Harvick is another one that's rough, and I made a video about him being rough on the pit crew. And my only point with saying that is it's a team sport. You're all in this together. There's no need to go and say negative things. Save it for the Monday morning meeting. You can say whatever you want to say. Just don't say it on the radio. Don't say it to the media. Say it in the Monday morning meeting. Say it to the guys' faces. And get your message across that way, because otherwise the media takes it over and makes it this much bigger deal. And that's the other thing I'm coming through with that particular type of criticism. Just keep it in house, keep it, within the team itself. Larry Mack does great in the booth. Just doesn't want to travel every race in the race-in booth. That's fair enough. But like I said, they could alternate him with Jamie McMurray, something like that. Let's see. Jason Ratcliffe said Bubba looked bad there. Yeah, he did look bad in that situation, but I also understand his frustration. But you gotta, like I said, you cannot talk to him for anything. But when he asks you what adjustments he needs to make to the car, you need to at least give him a little something there. First year in trucks for Haley, had no practice, no qualifying, but still did better than a lot with seat time. Just wait. She knows how to get up on the wheel. My friends, Cooper Yeti. Yeah, I agree. And what's weird about that is she did better last year than she's doing this year. So that makes me feel like there's some disconnect in the chemistry of that team. So I would like to see that team get it together just a little bit better. And also like just getting it through tech and just they've made some really simple mistakes that you shouldn't make to put them behind the 8-ball at the racetrack sometimes. And stuff like that is just, it happens to everybody, but when it happens consistently on a regular basis, it starts to become clear that there is some disorganization within the organization. That sounded weird. That would be hilarious for sure. Hope you're right, Cooter. We need a female in Cup. Well, we've got one coming. Her name's Kaylee Bryson. Jason Ratcliffe. When Kaylee Bryson gets to Cup, I think you're going to see something. It's going to take her a few years to get, not to Cup, but just to get to the touring series. She's just now starting to drive late models, but she's a dirt driver. She's pretty good. Young ladies like my daughters need someone for a route to follow. Yeah, so there's one coming, definitely. Just wait on it. I think Kaylee Bryson is going to be that driver. There's another one. I can't. There's a few more actually. I can't call their names right now. They'll come to me if I just don't think about them. Speaking of Harvick's pit crew, so they can change his pit crew for the better. But why can't they do the same thing for the 41? Don't forget about that. So I mean that's a fair point, right? If you're going to start switching pit crews around to get cars into the playoffs, what's why doesn't the 41 get some love? Is that just because they're so far down the totem pole? Points wise, I don't know. That's a good question. I would say that has to do more with Harvick's seniority and him being the leader driver, at least as far as how that thing's structured, is probably why that decision got made. Michael Curtis, what's up, Kyle? Tuning in from New Hampshire. What's up? I've been to New Hampshire once or twice. Pretty cool place. Listen to her scanner during the races. Even TJ treats her with kids' gloves. It's not helping her. Yeah, so I mean, you got to you can't coddle drivers. You gotta get real with them at some point. So if that's what's going on, I try not to listen to any radio just because even when I'm working in late model, I try not to listen to it because it just gets I don't take it well sometimes. Is probably the best way to put it. That's why I don't listen to it, and that's why I don't agree with drivers saying things to their pit crew because I'm not the one. So I don't listen to anybody's radio, and I try not to unless they make me. I try not to listen to the radio when I am working the pits either. Is Jeffrey Earnhardt a good fit for a Cup ride? Uh, a Cup ride right now, probably not. I would like to see him find some funding to go full time in that number 3 for RCR, because I think if you gave Jeffrey a full season with RCR, you would see how good he actually is. Now we know he is good on a restrictor plate track. He almost stole that thing at Talladega, so I would like to see him in a full season in good equipment, well funded good equipment, because I know he had the Joe Gibbs ride, but I don't think that was as well funded as people thought, because I think he was getting maybe the fourth or fifth best Joe Gibbs equipment from there. Uh, Jason Ratcliffe, I love Kaylee B, got that Yahoo sponsor. Yeah, and she's also a Toyota driver. If you go to the Toyota Racing website, Kaylee Bryson is featured. That's why I'm saying you'll eventually see her in Cup, because she's just now starting to race pavement late models. You'll see her move up pretty quick, because I think dirt, you're going to have that car control, point blank period. So once you get into pavement late models, that car control, it'll be nothing compared to that dirt stuff she's been doing. And I think she'll once she puts it together, she'll rise through the ranks pretty quick. Race teams are pulling in the bucks. There's no reason why pit crew should be as bad as some have been. Rich L said that. Yeah, I agree. If a guy messes up consistently, send him down to the lower ranks and bring up a guy in the lower ranks who has been, you know, surpassing his expectations in the lower ranks. The pit crews should be on point for sure. Aaron Flynn, Dale Jr. Designs Ally paint scheme on their title race for the 48, and ties with JRM and Hendricks. Maybe Bowman to JRM for Cup. That's an interesting thought, but I think Bowman is still under contract for a little while, so I don't know how that would exactly work out. But I could see Bowman being his guy there too. But I think Ally is signed with Hendrick, not necessarily with Bowman. But nobody, I mean, if Dale Jr. wanted Ally, I'm pretty sure they could find some money for him. So I don't think it would be that big of a deal. I'm going for nine straight Chevy prop bets wins at road courses this Sunday. Michael Curtis. Yeah, they've got the road course program going on. It kind of reminds me of back in the day when Toyota had it going on with the road courses and the short tracks. For like 5 or 6 years, Toyota was like unstoppable on road courses, and then they switched it where they were unstoppable on short tracks. So this is sort of Chevrolet's doing that on road courses now for sure. Mainly Hendrick, but also, you know, you've got AJ Allmendinger in the colleague Chevrolet. So Chevrolet's got a lot of good road course drivers. So it might not necessarily all just be the car. Hopefully it gets smoother than Sonoma for sure. Did you watch the sports car race at the Glen? I did not get a chance to watch that, Connor. I was sort of wiped out after the SRX race. I barely got going and moving to watch the marathon that was the Cup race, but I did not get to watch the Glen race, but I will pull that up on IMSA. IMSA has a YouTube channel. They usually have at least highlights, but sometimes I'll put the full race on there. So I'll check that out on their YouTube channel. A team depends so much on chemistry as it does talent. David Bibb, that is 100% right. You can watch a guy, and let's use Martin Truex Jr. as an example. When you saw Martin Truex Jr. paired finally with Cole Pearn, you finally saw all the talent that Martin Truex Jr. had. So there's a lot to be said about chemistry, and you also saw the chemistry with Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson. When those two separated, neither one of them were as good as they were with each other, but they had been with each other for a long time, and it was definitely time for them to separate. But you saw just how sometimes two guys fit together perfectly, or in this case, a guy and a girl, like would be Haley and whoever her crew chief is. So I think you see situations like that. Michael McDowell, I can't think of Oh man, it's Jacqueline Drake's brother, but Michael McDowell and his crew chief now. Um, you see now front row motorsports has been building up, right? But you're seeing this year what Michael McDowell can do in a race car because he's got a crew chief that is getting the most out of his feedback and giving him a car to drive. So as good as front row has built up each single season, you're seeing now when they get a good crew chief pairing. I'm not saying their other crew chief was bad. I'm not taking a shot at anybody, but this crew chief pairing with Michael McDowell is much better and a much better situation. They understand each other. And so you're seeing Michael McDowell, and it's because they brought in the right guy, right? So it's all about chemistry. If and even Chase Elliott has said that with Alan Gustafson, he was not going to get a crew chief that didn't believe in him. If he couldn't find a crew chief that didn't believe in him, he'd go race somewhere else. So chemistry is everything, especially on a race team, any sport really. RFK are the king of penalties this season. Holy cow! How many penalties are they going to? Are they trying to speed run? They're trying to speed run and overtake Cody Ware from last year for most penalties in NASCAR, doing a speed run. Yeah, RFK, they're just they're at least showing speed at certain racetracks, but they are definitely snake bit, like one step forward, two step back. So I don't know. Also think dirt guy Tyler Carpenter has cup level talent, just needs brakes. I know I'm biased there, but it's real. I would like to see a better dirt pipeline, to be honest with you. Uh, just like I'd like to see a better late model pipeline. There's a guy named Bobby McCarty that's won 3 cars tour titles, and he gave when they were running against each other, he had 2 titles and Josh Berry had 1. That's a guy I don't understand why he hasn't been called up to the next level, other than obviously the money. So I would like to see a better pipeline. At least now with Flow TV, you get to see these races on TV, Speed Sport, various other ones. You at least now get to see these guys streaming at least. So hopefully more of these guys will get a chance to race. Michael Berry would be JRM's driver in Cup. You mean Josh Berry? Michael Berry. I'm not sure who Michael Berry is. Josh Berry though, for Junior would be a good pick. They would just have to find him some sponsorship, but it's Dale Junior. You would think he's got a chance at that. AJ Almo. I don't even know how you spell how you want me to pronounce that. Almendinger, Chaffee City, USA. Yeah, AJ Almendinger. I would like to see him get a full-time ride in Cup as well. He's earned it just as much as anybody. Colleague, that's another interesting thing to look at. Are they going to make that 16 a full-time single driver next year? That's another thing to keep an eye on, who they're going to put in that thing. Larry Probus, keep up the good work. Thanks, Larry. I will do that. Good to see you dropping by to say hello. Just hope the 54 doesn't lose his cool and start dumping everybody at the Road America for the NXS race this weekend, like he did at Portland. Connor Brown said that. Yeah. Ty Gibbs, he seems like he's calmed down a little bit. He raced Sam Mayer this weekend, and they didn't get into it too bad. So I don't think it's over with, but hopefully they both keep their heads on and just race the rest of the season, because I don't know, he can dish it, but he can't take it. So hopefully he's working on not dishing it anymore, or he starts dishing it and is able to take it. However, so Michael McDowell, crew chief, is Drew Blickensderfer. Nah, Drew Blickensderfer left. He's over there with Eric Almirola. And the funny thing is, Eric Almirola is crew chief from last year. Oh, okay, I got you. Blue Jacks, can't talk. Last year, both their crew chiefs switched. One and went 10, and one went to 34. I think the guy from the 34 came from JGR, but I'll look it up. Mark Barnum. Yeah, Josh. Okay, got you. I got you. I thought you might have been talking about another race car driver I didn't know about. 10-4, Mark. Does Bowman drive the 88 in Xfinity this year? Oh, yeah. They said they found him a ride. He had a conflicting schedule or something like that. But they found him a ride in the 88, if I remember correctly. Spam is cool from SMB. Donnie Love, always good video, Kyle. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Noah Gregson would be Junior's guy if they went up to Cup, or Colleague would pick him up. I think that's a definite real situation to look at there. I think Junior, if they're going to move up, they need to go ahead and get something done now, because otherwise I think Colleague definitely jumps on Noah Gregson. Or I could definitely see them jumping on Noah Gregson. They have several candidates over there. One of which in the video I didn't mention Daniel Hemrick. Daniel Hemrick has sponsorship too, and he definitely has a Cup experience, right? So he's another guy that you could plug in there in that mix of drivers at JRM. So that'd be another good guy to take a look at over there. The cost of Ty Gibbs' wrecked cars probably came out of his trust fund account. Yeah, probably. And also all those wrecked cars. You notice Ty Gibbs was a lot faster at the beginning of this year than he is now, and I think you're starting to see that he has wrecked a lot of his really good cars. Is one possible theory to that. The other theory is they have won races and they know they're in the playoffs. Are they just doing a bunch of R&D stuff right now, a la Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus back in the day? I think that's a reasonable thing to ask. I'm not a fan of Mark Benson. I am not a fan of Brad Kay, but I feel bad for him. But hopefully he can build that team back up to a powerhouse again and keep up the great work. Thanks, Mark. I think he is well on his way to building them back up. The 100-point penalty just killed them. So I think he's got to get a win. Well, I don't think he has to get a win. Other than that, it's just going to be an R&D year for him. But the 17 has showed a lot of speed, and I think for all the money in China that Brad Keselowski has just been running R&D stuff, that's why he has been so far off the pace of the 17. They're just trying aggressive stuff. Jason Ratcliffe's still mad that Chase didn't get to run the 88 at Darlington. It didn't it didn't even rain more than a sprinkle. Yeah, that was a rough situation, man. That's a tough one. Michael McDowell, crew chief last year, was Blake Harris. Yeah, that's right. And I think he was originally with JGR. Blake Harris is who I'm talking about. You're right. Is now the crew chief for the 10. And for the 10, okay. 34. All right. So can anyone tell me why the money and the opportunities haven't come to Jeffrey Earnhardt like they came to Junior? I know Junior paid his dues, no doubt. I'm a Junior fan. I would just like to see Jeffrey. Yeah, see, that's a good question. Cooter Yeti asked that. I don't know what that situation is. I just don't know how that works. That would be some behind the scenes stuff that I think only those within that family would know. But all I know is when you put him in good equipment this season, in that number 3 car for RCR, he produced. So hopefully more people look at that and say, hey, we'll sponsor this guy because he's got the right last name, right? Everybody was excited when he finished second at Talladega. Just imagine if he got a win and your sponsor was on that hood when he got that win. That would be free marketing for a long time because a lot of people would buy those die casts. A lot of people would buy those T-shirts. A lot of people would buy those hats. So that is marketing you have to look at beyond the racetrack. Like, you're going to see hats and T-shirts, die-cast and stuff like that for years to come, and your company's going to be on there because you sponsored a guy. He doesn't even have to win the race. People are going to buy the T-shirts and hats, right? So I don't know why he has not been jumped on as a sponsor, but yeah. Dusty Condra, I don't see Petty GMS keeping Ty Dillon after this year. Might have an open ride in the 42. He is definitely not produced, and I'm sad about that. I'm a big Ty Dillon fan, but he is consistently 7 or 8 positions behind Eric Jones, and we know that Eric Jones is a really good talent. And this could go back to a crew chief chemistry deal, or it could be the driver. It just depends on who they're going to. Who Petty GMS is going to think is the problem in that situation. Are they going to think Ty Dillon is the problem, or are they going to try some type of new crew chief situation and give him 1 more year or something like that? But there are definitely guys chomping at the bit to get in that 42. that possibly would bring sponsor money. So that'll be an interesting thing to look at as well. When did RCR become a lesser Chevy team? In probably when Kevin Harvick left, I would have to say. I don't think they were ever getting necessarily, at least in the 2000s, I don't think they were ever getting the stuff that Hendrick was getting. So I would say probably when Kevin Harvick left, they became when Goodwrench pulled off that car. That's probably when. So that'd be what 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. So if I had to put a date on it, like when Goodwrench came off the car, I would have to say that would be the date. Ty Dillon is a better driver than his results show. Old home guy, I agree with you. I'm a big Ty Dillon fan, but I got to take my bias out of it somewhat, and he just doesn't have the results this year. So maybe try a different crew chief or something like that. That would be my bet. The minute Austin Dillon got in the seat, said Jason Ratcliffe. I'm an Austin Dillon fan. Austin Dillon is not Kevin Harvick, so it is what it is. Austin Dillon's a solid race car driver, but he's not Kevin Harvick. He's not Dale Earnhardt. So he's in a situation where people are not going to pull for him just because of that. I don't know. I like Richard Childress. That's his grandson. I have no problem pulling for him the way like you pull for Dale Jr. and all of Dale Jr.'s family. So I don't know. It's a weird situation that Austin gets. He gets pulled against by Earnhardt fans because he drives a 3. It's so strange to me. So, but that's fair enough. You pull for whoever you want to. I'm not telling you who to pull for, but it doesn't register with me because Earnhardt and Childress were such good friends. Like Austin Dillon was in victory lane with Earnhardt when they won the Daytona 500 in '98. So I don't know why people don't like him, but I don't know. So if you have time, you should make a video on Kurt Busch and his girlfriend. Fascinating story. Yeah, I would have to do some tap dancing to get that not a yellow check marked, but I will take a look at it and think about it. Do you prefer the Indy Oval or the Indy Road Course? I like the Indianapolis Oval, but I also like the Indianapolis Road Course. And there's just sort of sentimental, both of them are sentimental reasons. I think if you're going to look at it as a crown jewel, you got to take it back to the Oval. You got to do the Brickyard at the Oval. But it's just not going to be probably a great race unless this new car has fixed something, which it would be worth at least taking a look at. But the Indy Road Course will always be special for me because the first race car I was ever part of a team that I helped build. We built basically an electric car in school, and we took it to Indianapolis for the road course, and that's where we raced it at. So it's always gonna. I like the Indianapolis road course, man. So like it was my first race as a team member for something. So and it always puts on a good race, like Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin. Like need we say any more? And then AJ Allmendinger got the win. So I mean. It's tough to say. Like, I really wouldn't mind them having 2 races, to be honest with you, the Brickyard 400 and then a road course race. So, I mean, it is what it is. But if you had to, I guess if you had to twist my arm, give me the Oval and make it the Brickyard 400 and make it a crown jewel and make it special. So I guess that's how I would say that. I'm just going to say this. I don't like Bell mainly because he stole Jones's ride. Jones wasn't even that bad in the 20. But no, we put Bell in, and that frustrates me. So Christopher Bell has more money behind him, and Toyota believed in him more for some reason. But here's a fun fact. Eric Jones is younger. Eric Jones has more wins, and Eric Jones did almost the exact same results-wise in that car as Christopher Bell. So you gave up a younger driver for an older driver who's sort of doing the exact same thing as the other driver that was in that car. Not to mention, Christopher Bell now has Adam Stevens, Kyle Busch's championship winning crew chief, something that Eric Jones never had. And Christopher Bell's a heck of a driver. I'm not dumping on him. I just don't understand why. I'm with you on that. I don't understand why you got rid of Eric Jones. But that being said, we'll take him here at Petty GMS. Super happy to have him at Petty GMS. Huge Richard Petty fan growing up, and still am. So I'm glad we got him, and I hope he can get it into victory lane this year. I love the Dillons, especially Mike. Mike's a trip, man. He's wide open. I pull for all generational drivers. Just answering the question. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. He's not, and I don't say that as a negative. There are not many drivers who are Dale Earnhardt. There are not many drivers who are Kevin Harvick. Like, I wasn't saying that as a swipe toward Austin Dillon. So he's just a really solid. I would put him in the mold of Eric Almirola. He's a really, really solid race car driver. He's going to get you some wins. But he's definitely not Kevin Harvick or Dale Earnhardt. So he's not going to pull those sponsors necessarily like they are. So, yeah, it's all good. It's all good. It's all in conversation. Oval for me as well, said Rich L. My favorite driver is Travis Braden and Cody Robaugh. I can't say his name either. Robaugh. I'm just going to say it like that. So I wasn't dissing Austin. Oh, it's all good, man. Yeah. You're good, dude. I wasn't dissing him either. It was Childress's number, not Dale's. Yeah, that's a fact. A lot of people don't think about that, or they know it and ignore it. People need to get over it. I heard the same thing about Byron, and I'm a fan of his and Chase Elliott. But I hope Austin gets a win before the chase. Man, that's gosh. I hope Reddick and Austin Dillon both get in, because they have both been super good this year. They've had some bad luck, but they've been super consistent. If this was like the old style of points, they would be in the top 12, I think, last time I looked. So the frustrating thing about RCR this year is, if you look at every metric, they have done so much better than they did last year. But they don't have a win, and we've had so many different winners this year that they're in a worse points position, even though they have had almost 100% turnaround from last year results-wise. So they're just in a rough position. They've had a much better year, but it sounds crazy because they are like 16th, 17th, 18th. They're out of the playoffs. They're like 17th, 18th, and 19th, I think, in points. So they're well back. They're like 50 points below the cutoff line. And if another driver wins, they would be like way, way below the cutoff line. So they definitely are in a win to get in situation, which makes that Bristol dirt race even more bitter for Tyler Reddick. Just a rough situation there. I don't like NASCAR running at Indy, and I don't want Indy running at Daytona. Yeah, so there's a lot of people that felt like that, especially in 1994. Jason Pons chimed in with that. 1994, I think, was the first Brickyard, maybe 93. But I remember the first Brickyard. There were people who were livid. I mean, they were mad. They were even to the point of compromise where they're like, okay, you can run the track because other people have run the road course, but you can't run the oval. So from a traditionalist standpoint, I get that argument. But it's never, to me personally, it's never bothered me. But I understand where you're coming from with that, because I can understand sort of traditional things that have changed that I don't like. Like, it used to be called, like Daytona, for example, used to be called Speed Weeks. It was 2 weeks of just stuff being done at Daytona, and I love that. Now it is Speed Week. They have crammed it all into 1 week, and I absolutely can't stand it. So I understand it from a traditionalist standpoint, and I get where you're coming from. But me personally, it's never bothered me. But if it annoys you, I understand where you're coming from, because it really annoys me to call it Speed Week now instead of Speed Weeks. When you had Speed Weeks was 2 weeks, there was a festival of speed, and so I understand where you're coming from, even though we're a little bit different on that particular issue. Austin owns a PBR team now. Yeah, I forgot what they were called. I actually did a video on it, the Winston-Salem something. But yeah, he is a PBR owner, and that's pretty cool. They're doing team PBR this year for the first time, so that'll be pretty cool. Dusty Conjure, I hope Dillon wins for you this year, baby. Yeah, I hope so too. Him or Tyler Reddick, I'd be good either way. or Eric Jones or Ty Dillon. Either way, just one of them guys. I'd like to have one of them guys in the playoffs to pull for alongside Kyle Larson there. I like Reddick. I can see him in a Gibbs car. God, I hope not. Peanut Butter Hero. But he's definitely good. And if he leaves, that I can understand him leaving. I just hope he doesn't leave RCR. I hope we get the equipment up to par for him. But he would definitely be a good fit at Joe Gibbs. Let's see. This is just a fact. Reddick and Dillon are not going to make it unless they step it up. Plus 50. It's actually more than 50 points because if anybody else wins, it'll bump them even more than that. So I don't think they're going to make it. Well, I mean, you never know. There's always that restrictor plate race, and RCR is always good at restrictor plates. So that's a wild card. There's also some more road courses, which Tyler Reddick has done well at. Still not Austin Dillon's strong suit. And every once in a while, Austin Dillon just pulls one out of his hat. So you never know. But yeah, I mean, odds are they probably won't make it, but I'm a fan. I'm pulling for them. What point system do you think should be used? Replicator. So I like a system that would be similar to the old system, except instead of those big points that you have with it, you would have like the F1 style, except you would go all the way down to last place. So say you had 43 cars, the 43rd car would have 1 point. The first car would have 43 points, and then you would tack on 20 points for getting that win. And it would be cumulative. There would be no playoffs or anything like that. But my buddy Doug Bowers, that comments on the channel, he has wanted me to do this for a long time. He is advocating for a system where it is just whoever wins the most races, period, end of discussion. He said that would make it just as exciting as the playoffs because you would have guys with like 4 wins at the end of the season, and you would be like, who wins? And of course, if there was a tie, it would go to second places, so on and so forth. But or I guess whoever finishes higher in that race, maybe. I don't know. But he has advocated for that system. He says because it's simple, you don't have to look up anything, and it makes sense. And to me, that is kind of not the worst system to have. But me personally, I would like to have the system I just said, where it's 20 points for the win, 20 points for winning, 43 points for the first place finisher, and then, last place gets 1 point. Just do it like that. I think that would make the most sense. That's the way I would like to do it. But let me know, which way you would have it done. I'm just not a big playoffs person. I don't like the stages. As long as you have to stop for a stage. Now, if they had stage points and they didn't throw a caution after the stage, I could get along with that a little bit better, but I still don't like the stages. Let's see. Straight up, no bonus points, no playoffs. Said Chaffee City. Okay, so no bonus points. I can understand that too. 100% agree with you on speed weeks. Jason Pons. Dillon almost had it at the Coke 600. Man, he was a foot away. He needed one more foot to clear that front bumper, and he would have had it for sure. I think so too. But ifs and nuts, I mean, it wasn't horseshoes. So unfortunately, smoke is like the pot calling the kettle black. Tony Stewart deal. Just a guess, but I think most fans want badly for Earnhardt to be in the 3 car. For Richard, nothing against Austin. It wouldn't matter who it is. The car they aren't going to. I mean, yeah, like they definitely want to Earnhardt in there, but I don't think Jeffrey is quite ready for it yet. But who knows? That would definitely be a big selling point. But they could put Jeffrey in the 3 car in the Xfinity series, and I think everybody would be just as happy while he worked his way up. Atlanta and Daytona are still left. Only Michigan. Oh, I forgot about Atlanta. Atlanta's more like a super speedway this year too. Only Michigan is the only track that isn't a plate track, a road course, or short tracks. Michigan's an interesting one too because Austin Dillon is really good at Michigan, so he could possibly that'd be a good track for him to get one. Like I said, he shows up every year and just surprises you at one track. And you're like, hey, there's Austin Dillon. Be a fan favorite. Oh yeah, for sure. If they put Earnhardt in a 3, that would always be a fan favorite. They tried to with Junior before he went to Hendrick back in the day. the WC point system, yeah, that for sure, I'd be okay with that. Um, Front row Joe, the chase makes it harder to watch. I think so too, because after your driver wins in the regular season, who cares? He's making the playoffs, so you don't have to tune in until the playoffs. I mean, like diehards like me are always going to watch it too, but a casual fan, if he knows, like, let's say his favorite driver, a casual fan's favorite driver would be Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott's already won. No need for his fans to watch anymore until the playoffs come. Like if you're a casual Chase Elliott fan, so Denny Hamlin, same deal. You wouldn't even know Denny Hamlin's having a bad season aside from the wins. Like he's been terrible. So if you're a Denny Hamlin fan, you just tune in for the playoffs, and when you see him running bad, you probably freak out. So for casual fans, I think their driver wins and they stop watching until the playoffs. I'm not seeing Happy in the playoffs this year. I just think he's seen better days. The pit crew change isn't going to make a difference. Yeah, they've got to find some speed to get up there and get some wins. And he's definitely closer to the end than he is the beginning. So that could be part of it. I don't know. Chickens and turkeys don't feed themselves. All right, Jason, good to see you, brother. Farm life, I like it, and the ducks. All right, you got a whole farm there going, brother. Do you feel the new testing rules for celebrity drivers is bending over too much? I don't think it's bending over too much because I think all the teams should at least have 3 test dates still, even with all the simulation and all that junk. I think NASCAR is overcorrected with no testing. I think they need to give them at least 3 test days a year, 5 test days if you have a rookie. So Kimi Räikkönen would fall under my 5 test days deal. And every other driver that's raced a full season would fall under 3 practice days. So that would be how I feel about that. But did they specifically bend over for Kimi Räikkönen? Absolutely, because they want those F1 drivers in there. It's a crossover. Sort of the same thing boxing did with Conor McGregor when he came over and wanted to box Floyd Mayweather Jr. They're fixing to do that deal again, I believe. Obviously, I'm a diehard Earnhardt fan. Dale Jr. does so much for the sport with the current stuff, the history, and that's what my focus on JRM and Hendrick stuff so much. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, there's a lot of people that weren't even Earnhardt fans, but they like Dale Jr. So there's a lot of back in the day, you never would have believed it. But there are a lot of Earnhardt fans that pull for Hendrick now. So that's been a weird thing to sort of look at. Came back. Enough bump on that like button. Come on, let's get over 25 in the chat. Only 12 likes. Appreciate it, Jason. And I'm going to wrap it up here in about 5 minutes. So if you got any questions, go ahead and get them in. Let's see. Custer next year doesn't improve. I'm probably going to lose a fan support of him, which is sad because he's a cool guy. Stick in there, Moulton. He'll be all right. He might turn it around at the end of this year. So you never know. So stick it out. Don't give up on him. There's always a chance. What if Martin Truex fans had given up on him? Then in 2017, he wins that title. Just stick in there, buddy. Stay with him. I wish Junior would run another Cup race, but I doubt he ever would. I don't think that's in the future for him unless it's North Wilkesboro. I could see him running North Wilkesboro. So probably not, but I think North Wilkesboro would be the only one you would see him. Teams are testing, I think. When they say they're doing a Goodyear test, it's just a political way of saying it. Yeah, I mean, they've got a Goodyear tire test rotation, but some sponsored by Goodyear, and those teams that aren't sponsored by Goodyear don't get to test, so that's not a fair system. For the big teams, yeah, it's fine, for sure. I still think I'll give all the teams 3 tests. I think that would be better because it's a situation where, like, Rick Ware Racing could make some money to improve their lot because they would use their 3 test dates for Stewart Haas, right? Spire Motorsports would use their 3 test dates for Rick Hendrick, right? So they would make money off of it where they could build up their program, things like that. So I think test days are more capital for the smaller teams to make some money and improve. Who do I want to see in the Project 91 car? Scott Dixon, Kimi Räikkönen, who's already going to be in it, Jimmy Johnson, who they said they would be open to putting in there, Daniel Ricciardo, and Lando Norris. Those would be my 5 I want to see in there. And I think you'll see one of the McLaren guys in there. Which one it is, I don't know. Uh, but I've heard that Justin Marks is friends with the guy that runs the deal. His name's Brown. His last name's Brown. I can't think of his first name. Oh man, it's killing me. Anyway, he'll be the guy that those two guys are friends. So I think you'll see one of the McLaren, if not both of the McLaren guys, run a Cup race in the 91 car. And I can't wait for the Project 91 car to come out because that will be one of the diecasts that I buy. Also, Custer is going to be in Xfinity again. I'm going to be pulling for him. That's for sure, man. Stay with him, brother. Aaron Armstrong, what's up? Doing good, buddy. What do you think of the SR race at Sobo? It was awesome. I'm working on a video for that. That's actually what I'm going to be working on when I sign off here. Take Elliott to run Daytona. Yeah, he's for sure going to run Daytona. And most likely it'll be either in the Project 91 car or maybe a Stewart Haas car or a Penske car, because Penske has an open thing that they could run because they don't have 4 cars. So I think those will be the 3 cars you see, and the Rick Ware car would be just an extra Stewart Haas car. So I think those will be the 3 places you see Elio wind up running Daytona, and I am super excited to see him do it because it's a restrictor plate track or a super speedway, whatever you want to call them now. Zach Brown, thank you, Scott Bagley. They are he's friends with Justin Marks, so I could see the 2 McLaren guys definitely running that Project 91 car. So Elio, I think, has as good a chance as anybody to win Daytona is where I was going with that. I think if you put Custer somewhere else, he would run good. He showed at Charlotte he's got talent. Yeah, I agree with you. I think Custer's got a lot of talent. It's just one of those bad years for the guy. Zach Brown, thank you, Replicator and Peanut Butter Hero. Zach Brown, thank you. You turn the camera on, I forget everything sometimes. It's crazy. What's up, Baloney Burger? Epileptic Bumblebee 48. What's up? I don't see why Justin Marks won't get a car. He knows he has talent and the equipment. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe he just doesn't want to be the owner driver. But he's so crazy. I could see him being the owner driver at some point. You're an awesome host, and you have the best channel cover. Thanks, whole home guy. I appreciate it, man. CPO, my daily driver is a Ford Pinto with a 429. I hear you, brother. My uncle used to have a Maverick with a 429 in it. Those they would get it. Do you wipe? Okay. Well, Justin Marks and Haley Deegan in SRX this weekend. Yeah, that's going to be fun to watch for sure. Justin Marks is filling in for Elio, and Haley Deegan. She is filling in for Simon Pagenaud. And he's already wished her good luck. So I do not think Smoke cares about his NASCAR teams. He's into the drag racing now. I mean, well, that's what his wife's doing. So I think he's trying to show some love over there. I think he still cares quite a bit about the NASCAR teams. I think he's fully invested in Chase Briscoe. I think that's his guy. Right now, the year is looking at Custer statistics. His best hopes this year are either a win or at least gain some points on road courses. He's actually improved on road courses. Let's see. New to the Cumberland Vol, new to the channel, new to the sport. Very informative channel so far. Thanks, Cumberland Vol. I appreciate it. Do you ever need a mod in here? I'm your guy. I appreciate it, Rich L. And with that, I appreciate it, guys. Take them easy.